Hello, everyone. I'm Jason Perez.
And I'm Wesley Long.
And we're bringing you a fresh new take on disaster preparedness.
Welcome to Disaster Class.
When you need an emergency plan, you need Doberman Emergency Management. Whether you're buying a home and want to know about your local hazards, or you're a professional needing additional support, Doberman Emergency Management can help. Visit DobermanEMG.com today to learn more.
Disaster Class is brought to you by Instinct Ready, whose mission is to educate, prepare, and equip individuals, households, and families for disasters through quality education and premium products. Use promo code DisasterClass at InstinctReady.com for 10% off site-wide.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome back to Disaster Class. I'm Jason Perez.
Wesley Long.
And today we have some special guests with us here today. We have Rob and Jason from Rooftop Liferafts. Rob and Jason, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Welcome.
Thanks for having us. To be on.
Awesome. So you guys have developed some pretty cool, innovative products. Just for our listeners, we met these guys back in November of 2021 at the Natural Disaster and Emergency Management Expo in New York City. We had a blast. It was good to meet you guys. And we're definitely going to talk about your products. But first, let's just kind of get a little background, a little information about who you guys are and some of your experience and how you ended up in the flood safety industry. So maybe, Robert, you want to start us off with your background?
Sure, absolutely. Thanks for having us. I started off, years ago, king crabbing in Alaska, which is a pretty dangerous job. So I'd seen firsthand what water can do. Was a backcountry snowmobiler and snowboarder, so kind of was always, exposing myself to dangerous situations, as was Jason. And over the years, just I ended up going through a forest fire of massive proportion, and then I actually had a flood happen to us too, but wasn't as gnarly as the flood was. But so through all those experiences growing up on the West Coast, tsunami zones, we just started thinking, about 5 years ago, like, what can we do to enhance, a situation where people are always stuck on their roofs? And we went to the drawing board. And so my background's just been in gnarly situations since I was a young man. And that's really what brought us all together. I mean, we all grew up together as boys out playing in the snow and getting into all sorts of precarious situations. And then having to get out of them. So, it kind of just evolved from there. And then I grew up on Vancouver Island, and then I've recently relocated to Texas over the last year. But yeah, I mean, my background's always been pushing myself to the limit and then having to get out of it. So that's where this product really derived from.
Really cool. Awesome.
And how about you, Jason? What's a little bit about your background?
Yeah, thanks. My background predominantly for work was offshore energy. I'm an 23-year offshore energy professional. I only gave that up about 2 years ago to follow through full time with this. I'm a Cert 4 in health, safety, and environment. I've got numerous offshore rescue certificates, high angle rescue. I've been through it all. I mean, I've been in as Rob said, some precarious situations I put myself into, as well as a lot out at sea. And I've had a lot of training to get myself out of those types of situations, and the people around me. So when Rob come up with this idea, it was natural just to jump on board right away.
Right. Really cool. Cool. So we've gathered a little research, did a little background on you guys. It sounds like you actually, and based on what you said, have experienced some disasters yourselves. So have you had any personal experience with flooding? And if so, could you kind of describe what it was like?
Mm-hmm. You go ahead, Rob.
Yeah, Rob, maybe.
Yeah. So in High River, Alberta, which is province next to British Columbia there, I had a flood happen, and we had kids stuck in school bus on one side of the river. We had, it was a flash flood of pretty epic proportion, and a variety of rescue events were going on. So luckily nobody lost their lives, but they had to dispatch emergency, personnel in a variety of locations. And that was pretty gnarly. And then I went through again in May 2nd of 2016. I went through a massive forest fire where 100,000 people had to get evacuated from the city. And so my two experiences have been, I mean, it's just pandemonium when disaster strikes. It absolutely is. And it does traumatize you to where you never forget it. So definitely those experiences have contributed to enhancing our products. And I definitely don't wish a natural disaster on anybody, or it's we be prepared. Have your bug out bag.
Be ready to go.
Gnarly. That's all I can say. It was, it's a gnarly situation when floods happen or forest fires.
Yeah, absolutely. And how about you, Jason?
No natural disasters per se.
Okay.
I mean, I worked over 15 years in the outback, all through Australia, through eastern Queensland, and up in the north of Australia. And I mean, the ground doesn't take water there like it does on the west coast where I'm from. And when it rains there, I mean, flash floods are just part of the job out there. I mean, luckily enough, in 15 years, I know that we had no fatalities, we had no one disappear, no one missing, but we've lost probably 20 vehicles.
Wow.
We've been in areas where the residents in the areas we were working in, we've had to rescue, have not been able to get across. So yeah, I've had my experience with that way in floods. But like as I said previously, probably more so in the marine environment myself, with that type of stuff. But
wow.
Yeah, I mean, as Rob said, it's life changing. And when you see that happening, and it's a real helpless feeling when you don't have the right tools for the job.
Absolutely.
I mean, you're left. These things don't happen planned. You're not going, all right, there's going to be a flood tomorrow. I'm going to grab my bag. I'm going to grab my raft. I'm going to be ready to go.
Yep.
It's bang.
Here it is.
There it is.
Wow.
And you got to be ready.
So maybe just kind of like an auxiliary question just for that. So you've gone through those experiences and you look back and like you said, you never forget it. So Rob kind of mentioned, having a bug out bag. Were there things that you kind of looking back were like, man, I wish I had done this? And then that's kind of influenced on how you prepare and do things now? And either of you can jump in.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, everything, my bug out bag over the years has definitely gotten a little heavier and a little more technical. I mean, without a doubt.
As it should, yeah.
And I mean, even relocating to Texas, I mean, I'm blessed that I'm a U.S. citizen, so it was easy for me to get down here. But just in the limited time that I've been in Texas, which is just over a year, I've seen floods in Austin. I mean, little guys, nothing, no carrying around away any cars. But I mean, we have a saying here: "Turn around, don't drown," and it's real. I mean, tires float. So yeah, I have a bug out bag for my entire family. I've got a raft attached to my house. I'm ready to go. And then obviously if there's a fire, just get out of town, man.
Yep.
That's all I can say about fires.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So now you guys specialize in flooding, and flooding continues to be the number one hazard, at least in the U.S. I'm sure it's probably one of the leading, if not the leading hazard globally, but it's definitely one of the leading hazards here. So what are your thoughts about where flood hazards are going? To me, when I look at it, it seems like they're just getting worse. Any thoughts about future flood projections?
Well, I mean, the stats kind of show for the Eastern Seaboard in the U.S., you're looking at 260% increase in floods over the next 30 years. We know what water levels are doing. We know what global warming's doing. We're all in the know about that. And the water's coming. It's plain and simple. The science is there. It proves it.
Yep.
And it's about preparedness. And that's why the four of us are all here. And that's, we've got a passion to keep people safe, number one, and a passion for creativity, number two, I think. Everyone in our group's pretty creative, especially, Rob, our founder, he came up with this idea, and the boys that were asked to join were on like that, there was no doubt or a sign. So, yeah, I mean, it's projected, the science is there.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like more towns and communities are recognizing the hazard and preparing as well. And I just can't say enough, prepare, because I mean, it's just drilled India. It's just drilled India, when you work in those type of environments, or, guys in the military as well. Yes, that's what you do. You drill. So when that happens, it's a natural thing. You're ready to go.
The muscle memory is there. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
that's right.
Last year in China, we watched closely. I mean, I know China's really far away from us. However, they've just been experiencing like 100-year floods. I mean, just flooding out tunnels and wiping away whole villages. And the power of water. I mean, having a background in king crab fishing, we would get 70-foot waves. Like, water's, as much as I'm a good swimmer, water's just the gnarliest force on earth. And I mean, truly, like, what? And so, I mean, I would show my daughter sometimes some of the waves you see in the Bering Sea, and she's just mind blown. And so I guess I've always had a really healthy fear for water, which has also contributed to the development of our products and our. We work closely with a world-renowned safety company, Zodiac. We when we collaborated on this thing, we wanted to run the absolute best gear in the world. So we got together with their engineers. They contributed a lot to our project to get it to where it is today. And so that's why it's like state-of-the-art survival gear in all of our products. And that stems from, I mean, you don't really want to be floating around out there in something that's not puncture-proof. You don't have all your survival goodies on board. And a lot of people think, hey, I can just inflate this alligator, this, this whatever pool toy they got, and they can get out. And that's not the case.
Yeah.
That's not going to be sufficient.
Yeah, because I think when people imagine flooding, it's like, they just have like the peaceful, it's like the, at the beach, or, like the nice calm waters.
Yeah,
but
like
in disasters, it's like that water, even like people, like you see people walking through it. That's not even something even walking through. There's like all this kind of stuff in there that can hurt you. But yeah, it's crazy. And like you said, like just the way the trends are going, right? The projections, the science is there. Just not that long ago, we had Hurricane Ida come through here in New York. And I've never hit like crazy flooding. I remember like I work in New York City still, and just on one of my routes, like cars are floating in the highway. Yeah, it's like right. It's crazy. So definitely, the science is there, like you said, and where we're heading. Now you guys are from Canada originally, so recently, we had there was all that flooding over there in Vancouver, and it sounds like that was like your backyard. What are your thoughts on that? And even in Australia right now, they're having that major flooding happening in Australia. So, looking at those situations, what are some key lessons that you guys have kind of gathered just looking at it, and what would you tell people who face a flood threat?
I would say the first thing to tell people, if you face, is like Rob said. What did you guys say? The slogan is in Texas?
Turn around, don't drown.
Okay. In Australia, it's if it's flooded, forget it. So I mean, floodwaters are a mystical beast, because like you mentioned before, at the start they're flowing really fast, and I mean it's alarming. No one's going to walk into that. But when the dust settles, when the waters settle down and it's all just sitting there, I mean, it's still not safe to get into.
Mm-hmm.
It's I can't say it enough. Preparedness. You can't prepare enough.
Yeah.
There's that many ways now. There's that many people you can call with the internet, with everything we have. The world's very small. Ask for help. If you're not sure, reach out.
Yeah.
Call people like you guys, yourselves, ourselves. We're prepared to help you with your flood plan. We're prepared to fly to your house. We're prepared to come there and if you're in a floodplain, reach out to the professionals.
Yep.
And I mean, we wouldn't build a house without a smoke detector.
Right.
It's true.
So
yeah.
To me, this is no different.
Yep.
Absolutely.
During Hurricane Harvey, between Friday and Monday, there was 75,000 phone calls to 911, and 21,000 people were stuck on their roofs. I mean, it's super common to be looking at flood footage and everybody's waiting on the roofs to be rescued. And I mean, when we were at the early stages of developing this product and we weren't where we are now, it was like, I'd see a flood and same, there's FEMA's hemorrhaging post-catastrophic rescue costs, and they don't have enough helicopters, and all of the volunteers are everywhere trying to help. And the only guys getting around are marine craft, right? So for us, it's a no-brainer to have, I mean, in the Netherlands, for example, it's municipal law to have marine craft in your yard. So we just kind of like it. I mean, those guys know water really well, right?
Yeah.
They live around it. They got to live with it. We can learn a lot from those folks over there. So for us, it's getting the message out that, hey, this is an available option that's going to help your family in the unlikely event of a flood or likely event. I mean, if you live below the dam or you live in a floodplain, chances are it's going to flood again.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely.
That's just the facts. Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You see, to touch on the Vancouver in Australia, yeah, it hit us close to home. I mean, when Vancouver flooded, we would have loved to have been there deploying rafts through Abbotsford. And I mean, my family, my parents live in a place called Merritt, BC, and half the town disappeared in those floods.
Incredible.
Yep.
Luckily, they're up in the mountains, but their bridge got washed away twice, washed away, rebuilt, and washed away again on the second rainfall because it re-flooded a week later. And ironically enough, we're in New York at the trade show.
Yeah.
Watching this all take place.
Yeah,
It was a real helpless feeling, like we could have topped into the warehouse and run out there and been deploying rafts where needed. And we wanted more than anything to be back there helping. And it was a real helpless feeling. And that's how I feel about Australia right now.
Mm-hmm.
The northern rivers of New South Wales, I called home for over 6 years. They are tragically underwater. There's been 10 deaths in Lismore County in the last 5 days. There's still about 25 people missing. It's just, it's a real helpless feeling, man. And it really hits you close to home when it was your home or is your home,
Yeah.
I touched base a couple of days with a lot of people there that I still know there, and luckily everyone's safe, but no one's okay.
Right.
Everyone's, it's a tough thing to come back from.
Yeah, absolutely. You're going to say something, Rob?
Yeah, my apologies there. One of the rad components that we incorporated into our product, which is really crucial when you've got to deploy, which is a PLB. It's a simple unit, personal locating beacon, and just having that, I mean, it helps rescue efforts. So, I mean, it's like Jay said with the smoke detector. We bang our heads against the walls, pull our hair out whenever we see a disaster that we could have assisted and get the message to them that, hey, and I mean, we're not talking about spending $100,000 on a boat here. We're pretty inexpensive to save a life or to have to evacuate. And like Jay said with the smoke detector, I mean, we'd like to see our systems specified as building practices, and eventually get into building codes. Where we are currently speaking with the city of New Orleans right now, with the mayor's office, which we're excited to be part of on a pilot project. We're talking to them about where we're going to be specifying and the size of rafts, where we're going to put them. So, the mindset is changing. And it's podcasts like this too, that thank you that get the message out. And that's really what we're all about, is like Jay said, saving lives and planning. I mean, just plan ahead, dude. So,
thinking ahead.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Well, we've heard a little bit about your product. Can you just give us a rundown, top to bottom? What is it that you provide, and what value can be derived from our listeners or any of your customers? This is your chance. This is your chance to plug your thing. Tell us all about it, please.
Absolutely.
And it's a really, and we got to see it a little bit in person. Where they're really
we did
cool.
Get to see it. Yeah, we did.
They're
get to
cool
see
products, so we're excited.
Yeah, no. So we started out with a residential model, a 4 to 10 human raft for that amounts to the vertical cladding of any building, for any threat of rising water. And we coined the term automatic raft kit, or ARC. We also we've termed urban life-saving apparatus, which is another term that we use often. And the idea is, hey man, if all of a sudden, like recently in Mississippi, just last year, November, a gal called 911, water was, coming up her ditch, less than 5 minutes later, it was in their house. And unfortunately, they had some, I hate to bring it up, but they lost 2 toddlers.
Mm-hmm.
And that sort of stuff breaks your heart, right? And I mean, I don't want to touch base on that or without bringing up, how tragic that is, but we kept seeing this is, our product came out just for that. It was okay, the residential sector, let's get it to where you can stay, deploy your raft, you got all your survival gear in there, and you can stay tethered to your house. Or if you choose to, hey man, we got to float away. We work closely with swiftwater rescue teams and Zodiac to develop a product that would withstand eddies and large debris. And then we were blessed about 2 years ago to move into the commercial market and really expand our product line. So now we have rafts right from a 10 human up to 151 human. We got a 10 human, 20, 30, 40, 51, and 151. So those work well for, places like box stores. I mean, if you're in a Costco and all of a sudden there's a flash flood, or even in, somewhere downtown and, hey, we got to get out of here. You mount three 30-mans on a building and you're going to get your staff and or your customers to safety. And again, our products are designed by the world's best survival company, Zodiac. So, the internal guts are, and we've got double buoyancy chambers, heat treated seams, state of the art survival gear on there. You can customize what you put in it. We have guys that order all sorts of bells and whistles for their rafts, for their guest houses, anybody who's on a beachfront home. The product's still changing in the sense that the more feedback we get from customers, the more we enhance it. And as I said, we launched into the commercial market and we've seen some serious growth there.
That's awesome. And just so for our listeners, so they really understand your product. It's basically it's deflated and it attaches to the building, right? And then and how does it deploy?
Okay, good question. So we run CO2 and nitrogen, very similar systems that you see on high-end yachts. And it's all packed in there every 3 years. We recommend that it gets re-inspected by one of our teams, recertified, we'll call it. Mm-hmm. And the idea is it stays dormant, very similar to on marine craft. And with just the pull of a ripcord, you've got a CO2 deployed raft. I mean, it deploys in 3.5 seconds, fully inflated. And on that, you've got patch kits. I mean, the list, I'd bore you with the list of stuff that's on there. But really, it's designed to keep you alive at sea. Mm-hmm. Now, coming into the urban market, because the seas are coming into where we live, you can survive for several days out there on one of these units. And then having double buoyancy chambers, if you happen to have a puncture, you've still got another chamber that's going to keep you afloat. And you've also got a patch kit and a bilge pump. So we work closely with swiftwater rescue teams. Like, as I said, Rick Cummins from the Flood Rescue Academy, he's got a really beautiful flood simulation tank in Georgetown, Texas. And we've become really good friends with him, actually. And that's where we do a lot of our simulations and testing. Because swiftwater can, as you were saying earlier, it can pick back up and eddies can flow behind buildings depending on where the water's coming from. So, it's really a simple design, and it's in a matter of seconds, you pull a ripcord or push a button. We actually have fob actuation now that we're working on. So that's it in a nutshell. It's a boat, a high quality boat, CO2 deployed, that's going to get you and your family to safety if you need to.
Beautiful.
Wow. That's awesome.
Give you an idea on size when it's mounted on your house before it's inflated. The 4 human, about the size of a regular suitcase.
Wow.
Almost carry on.
Wow.
You go up to the 50, you're looking at like a wheelie suitcase. Like they're pretty compact.
Yeah. Very low profile. That's awesome.
That's right. That's exactly what they are. Low profile cases is the name for them. And they would look on the side of your house, be no different to a split system air conditioner on the outside of your house.
Right.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah,
Beautiful.
I mean, what a great idea for our product, especially just so the way, and like we talked about, flooding is one of the most common hazards.
Right.
So it's like if you live in like, and kudos, man, working with New Orleans, because we we look back at Katrina and all those things and
How they've been devastated.
Again and again. So it's, you know, if you're living in an area like that, this is definitely a worthwhile investment. So, where can people go now if they, you know, they want to connect with you, they want to connect with Rooftop Life Rafts? Where can they find you?
We're on all social media streams, Twitter, Instagram, Rooftop Rafts Inc. We're on LinkedIn as well, myself and Rob. You can look us up, Jason Bourgeault, Robert Chaney on Rooftop Life Rafts. Or you can go to our website, rooftopLifeRafts.com. We've got an online store there, as well as an info page. You can call us, you can email us. We're happy to help with any queries. Diverted payments as well. So I mean, if someone wanted to pay over 24 months because they don't think it was an investment they want to do in one bang, that's available. Make it as easy and as accessible to people as possible.
Yeah.
Because as I said, we want to see these. We don't want to see people sitting on their roofs. We want to see people floating to safety.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Awesome, guys. It was so. Oh, go ahead, Rob. Sorry.
Oh no, I was just going to touch base on what Jay said. Is that we've had, you know, over the years we've had some really interesting feedback about. I mean, we had where we were accentuating the look of them and really letting everybody know that, hey, this is a raft in here, and then we had some clients say, hey, look, I don't want anybody to know it's there. So we've actually gone and, you know, had people send pictures of their brick or of their party plank. And then we'll make a vinyl wrap and we'll wrap the unit to actually match the cladding of their house, make it so it's concealed. So, I mean, we work very closely with our customers. It's not like you're going to call them, you know, if you call, you're going to speak to me or Jay. And on a larger units, quite often we'll fly out and we'll help install them. So we're really hands-on, and we like to keep the company that way. I don't see us ever getting away from that. You know, so if anybody has any customization options that they want to include, or hey man, they want their favorite book in there, or they want a flask of whiskey, I mean, right? We'll make it happen.
That's cool.
Awesome. Maybe we can get a disaster class one.
We got life jackets for pets.
That's beautiful.
Awesome.
That is beautiful.
Awesome, guys. Well, thank you so much for coming on Disaster Class. It was really great talking with you guys and hearing about your product. I think it's a really great idea, great innovation, especially, you know, in our current climate. So, really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for coming on, and we look forward to talking with you again soon.
Yeah, nice just hanging with you guys.
Thank you guys, boys. Look forward to some synergy one day, eh?
Absolutely.
Yep. We're looking forward to it.
Right on. Love your product as well, lads. Thanks very much.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.